Elon Musk and 50 Cent just dropped a truth bomb that has the entire industry shaken, saying Diddy isn't the boss at all. He's just a distraction, and the real figure behind it all makes the Epstein list look like child's play. So if you thought Diddy was the final boss, you've been reading the wrong map this whole time, because Elon Musk isn't just talking anymore. He's reportedly working with 50 Cent to expose who's really been controlling this empire from the shadows. And here's what makes it crazy. While 50 has been loud about the parties in his documentary, Elon has something far more dangerous: the data, the proof, and access to thousands of private messages from Twitter, now X, that could tear Hollywood apart. And what you're about to see is a three-level pyramid of power, starting at the bottom with Jay-Z and Beyonce, then moving up to industry giants like Oprah and Clive Davis in the middle. And at the very top is one name no one expected, a name that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time, because this isn't about rappers or record labels anymore. It goes all the way to the pulpit, something 50 Cent has been warning about for months. So buckle up, because what you're about to hear will change everything you thought you knew.
Believe that they gave me a raw deal because this industry is a monster. It's the same monster that these Me Too trying to tell you about. But they hate the monster for how it, and I hate that monster for how it eats. But my God, man, it's the same monster. When I quit the show, all my friends would say, well, up them, Dave, why don't you just do Chappelle's show at another network? Yeah. And why doesn't a slave run from one plantation to another plantation? Because the master over there might be nicer. My God, man, I was trapped. You know what? Tell you the truth. I've even thought about coming back and doing another Chappelle show. Well, but if I...
Before we climb this pyramid, you need to understand why Diddy's case matters far beyond hip-hop. And no, I'm not going to go in his background. I'm only covering what you came here for, because as we all know, 50 Cent released his Diddy documentary called The Reckoning when no one else in the industry was willing to speak up. Either they were scared, involved, or straight up being controlled. And 50 said something that really hit hard when he told the world that if he stayed silent, the entire hip-hop culture would look like it was supporting Diddy's behavior. And since no one else was being loud about it, he felt he had no choice but to step up.
How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly? This is insane that people keep refusing. I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately: Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through. That changes now, Sean. You have no choice. That Dream Hampton was being financed and ran by Sean Carter. They were able to go and get all of these witnesses because he was there with Robert Kelly.
Now here's where things get really dark, because Diddy allegedly had around 250 hidden cameras installed inside his house. Yes, 250 cameras recording everything that happened at those freak-off parties, and industry insiders like Jaguar and Gene Deal have claimed this wasn't done for fun, but for control, because Diddy allegedly kept that footage as insurance, using it as blackmail to stay powerful and keep people in line. And right now, those tapes are reportedly being passed around Hollywood, which has a lot of big names panicking. But Elon Musk's involvement changes everything, because he owns X, formerly Twitter, giving him access to years of private DMs between celebrities, politicians, and industry power players. And when Elon sat down with Joe Rogan, he didn't just hint at things. He directly called people out, including Jennifer Lopez, who has been warning everyone about Trump. But Elon asked what no one else dared to ask. How many people did J. Lo warn about Diddy? Not one. Even though she was literally Diddy's ex-girlfriend, and Elon said it clearly that maybe her opinion shouldn't be trusted.
The Diddy thing was like an Epstein-type compromise deal, where he had, whether he was doing it himself, conceivably, people want to think that he's attached to some intelligence agency or something like that. I think he's a gangster who made $1 billion and knew how to control people by compromising them. That's what I think. Whether or not he had help, I don't know. Whether or not he shared some of that information with people so they knew they had compromising stuff on people, I don't know. But clearly he was doing it for his own jollies too. There was something sick about it.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that people in the music and entertainment industry had to know that Diddy was like abusing, kids basically. And yet they still fed him kids. And like, where's the accountability?
There had to be rumors. There had to be.
They had to know.
Yeah.
They had to know.
Cat Williams was talking about it on.
Exactly.
Yeah, on that podcast.
But like who's feeding him the kids?
Right. Yeah. And what videos do they have of these people where they're willing to defend him and they're willing to keep quiet about all this? Like how many people were compromised?
Yeah.
The whole thing is crazy.
Crazy.
It's just crazy when because the nutty conspiracy theories is like, oh, there's a bunch of pedophiles in Hollywood, and you're like, come on, that sounds too kooky. And then you see like the Nickelodeon thing and all these different.
That one statement shook the internet, because if someone as close to Diddy as J. Lo never said a word, what does that tell you? Either she didn't know, which feels impossible, or she knew and stayed silent. And if she stayed silent, why? What was she protecting? Or better yet, who was she protecting? And now it's time to start climbing the pyramid, with level 1 being Jay-Z and Beyonce. And if you're thinking they're only at the bottom, just wait until you see who's above them, because Jaguar went on Piers Morgan and said things she clearly wasn't supposed to say, things about Jay-Z and Diddy that the industry wanted buried. And just 48 hours after the episode went live, it was pulled, banned, gone, completely deleted, and Jaguar asked a simple question no one could answer. How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King on CBS and not get asked a single question about his connection to Aaliyah and R. Kelly? How does that interview happen without addressing the obvious? Because she called both Diddy and Jay-Z monsters and said they've had a tight grip on the industry for decades. And then there's the Aaliyah conspiracy that refuses to go away, with many people believing Jay-Z or Beyonce were somehow involved in her plane crash, based on the idea that Aaliyah was getting too close to Jay-Z and was seen as a threat. And Jaguar openly claimed that Jay-Z was responsible for putting Aaliyah on that unsafe plane, saying it was punishment for rejecting him in that. Removing Aaliyah cleared the path for Beyonce, who was struggling at the time to reach.
Think about this. Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who was a victim of Sean Carter. Yeah. Mary J. Blige, who was a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah amongst each other. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened, and yet they had to sit there and have that conversation like they didn't know who did it.
Now, I'm not saying any of this is confirmed, but the fact that people are even talking about it, and the fact that Jay-Z has never publicly addressed these rumors, makes that silence feel extremely loud. And here's another detail that raised eyebrows. When Diddy was charged and victims started coming forward to sue him, guess which lawyer showed up? Alex Spiro, Jay-Z's personal attorney, who began representing some of Diddy's victims. And that immediately made people start asking serious questions about why Jay-Z's own lawyer was suddenly involved in a case this explosive.
That's suing Tony Busby? Spiro is a partner, and Alex Spiro is Jay-Z's personal lawyer.
Oh, so it's probably Jay-Z then that's doing the suing.
Of course they'd use Kevin's name, but it ain't Kevin. Why is Alex Spiro popping up everywhere?
What do you think is going on in Hollywood right now? What are you hearing? Because I'm hearing
mass panic. Mass panic.
So because no one's talking publicly.
No, they can't. That's why they came up with the story. Well, there's a party inside the Diddy party, and I went to the first party, but I left early. I never made it to Diddy After Dark. There were public relations teams right after Diddy got arrested running around telling everyone to say that.
Of course.
The question is this. If all you went to was the first party and you didn't know anything about the After Dark, why would you say, I left early? Why wouldn't you just say you left when the party ended?
Exactly.
Because how would you know there was another party if you weren't informed?
Exactly.
If you went to the Diddy party and nothing happened and it was the first party, your speech wouldn't be, oh, well, I only went to the first party. I didn't go to the after party. You wouldn't say that because you wouldn't have known about
Exactly.
it. You would say, I don't know what anybody's talking about. I went to Diddy's party. It was a white party. It was dancing. It was wild. But at the end, we all went home.
Right.
That's not what y'all are saying.
Nope.
You're saying, I didn't go to the second party. I only went to the first. The only thing you're proving is that you're hiding being there
Yeah.
because you wouldn't have known about another
Exactly.
party.
Because otherwise you wouldn't know about another party. And insiders are saying this was about silencing victims and controlling the story before more names came out. Because if Diddy starts talking and naming names, a lot of powerful people could go down with him. And Jay-Z allegedly doesn't want that to happen. And you can't talk about Jay-Z's rise without mentioning Big L, the artist who helped put him on and introduced him to Dame Dash at Rockefeller Records. Because talks had already started for Big L and his crew to get a deal. But just days after those discussions began, Big L was killed in a drive by shooting in Harlem, a murder that remains unsolved to this day. And Jaguar Wright claims Big L's death was the first of many strange deaths that followed Jay-Z's rise to power. And maybe that's a coincidence, but when you start connecting the dots, the pattern becomes hard to ignore. And now we move up to level 2, where things get even darker, with Oprah Winfrey and Clive Davis, often called the real power brokers of the entertainment industry, starting with Oprah, who was photographed many times with Harvey Weinstein. Not just casual photos, but moments showing closeness, support for his projects, and appearances beside him at major events. Even while rumors about Harvey were already loud in Hollywood, and many survivors needed someone with Oprah's influence to speak out. But she stayed silent, which made people believe she was protecting the system instead of exposing it. And then there's the South Africa school scandal, where Oprah invested $40 million into a school meant to be her legacy project. But within months of opening, several girls accused a dorm staff member, Virginia Makopo, of assault, and Oprah flew in, fired staff, and cried on camera. Yet critics say the story never fully added up, leaving one question hanging. Did Oprah know more than she admitted?
You know, she's f***ing Ray J. And then it's Grammy time.
That happened.
And her and Clive had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobby Christina was present for some of that fight. And then the next thing you know, she's dead. Ray J was the last person to see her alive. He let the drug dealer in, but she was sober, right? But he let the drug dealer in that gave her the shot. Leola has said, Leola Brown, Bobby Brown's sister, has said on several occasions that she was beaten. They saw her body. She didn't just die in a tub, like she was beat up.
Old photos are now resurfacing showing Oprah at the same private events where Diddy held his infamous parties. And both Jaguar Wright and Dr. Umar Johnson have hinted that Oprah wields serious quiet power in Hollywood. The kind of influence that makes people too afraid to cross her and can destroy careers with a single phone call. And now we move to Clive Davis, a 92-year-old industry veteran who founded Arista Records in 1974 and launched the careers of legends like Billy Joel, Janis Joplin, and Carlos Santana, who came out as bisexual in the 1980s. And here's where it gets complicated, because hip-hop mogul Suge Knight has claimed for years that Clive and Diddy were more than just mentor and protege, saying that Clive Davis told him directly that he and Puff were very close. And when Suge asked for clarification, Clive allegedly said they were lovers, not just business partners, lovers.
Favorite memory working with Diddy?
You know, personally, I've got to tell you, he really is a major star in this film tonight. He's his spokesman all the way through. I met him before I ever knew of him. I met him when he was 21 years old. And when we met, you know, he played me Craig Mack Flavor in Your Ear. He played me 3 cuts from the forthcoming Notorious B.I.G. album. And we talked for hours and hours about music, and I poured into his dream. And I financed Bad Boy Records. And we had an incredible run, an incredible period.
When a reporter tried to ask Clive about Diddy at a public event, he became visibly nervous and completely refused to answer. And that reaction alone reveals everything you need to know.
In 1993, he and Clive Davis founded Bad Boy Records. Clive Davis, how do you describe Clive Davis? There's an infomercial about him now, which is a document. It's being called a documentary. And it makes him look like this benign octogenarian that's helped all these rock stars with their careers. But people in the music industry really don't like Clive Davis, most of them. And his criminality is kind of amazing.
And then there's the Whitney Houston conspiracy, with many people believing Ray J and Clive Davis played a role in her death. Since Whitney had a major fight with Clive just 2 days before she died, and Bobby Christina, her daughter, was allegedly present during that fight, while Ray J was reportedly the last person to see Whitney alive and allegedly let the drug dealer in her room who gave her the fatal dose, and Whitney's family, including Bobby Brown's sister, claimed she was beaten and didn't just die in a tub, as the official story states, leading to the question, why has Clive Davis, despite decades of rumors and allegations, never been arrested or charged, with many believing Diddy is the fall guy, taking the blame to protect Clive, who has allegedly operated in the shadows all this time. And now we reach the top of the pyramid, the name that shocks everyone, Bishop T.D. Jakes, a pastor, a man of God, the preacher to thousands every Sunday. And 50 Cent has been dropping hints about T.D. Jakes for months on social media, fueling the theory that if corruption has reached the pulpit, this blackmail ring is far bigger than Epstein's, with Diddy needing a way to cleanse his sins, gain legitimacy, and secure cover, allegedly where T.D. Jakes came in. And in part 4 of 50 Cent Diddy documentary, clips of T.D. Jakes were strategically placed. So when Little Rod talks about waking up sore from Diddy's parties, T.D. Jakes appears on screen talking about going on a love rampage, and many believe 50 Cent added those clips deliberately to connect the dots for the audience. While Cat Williams warned that in 2024 all lies would be exposed, no matter who you are, whether Diddy, T.D. Jakes, Jay-Z, or anyone else.
Watch as Cat Williams calls out Bishop T.D. Jakes, and watch as T.D. Jakes and Gino Jennings' response.
I came in this business saying I was going to expose. When I talked about Michael Jackson, when I talked about R. Kelly, they canceled me for these things because why would you talk about another black dude? Race is not where the line is drawn. It's God's side and the other side. And we don't care nothing about the other side. Period. All of these big deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is, T.D. Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed.
And when T.D. Jakes was confronted about the Diddy allegations, he responded by saying, "Keep it moving. The worst that could happen. Even if everything were true, all I have to do is repent. There's enough power in the blood to cover all kinds of sin. But I don't even have to repent about this."
Keep it moving. The worst that could happen if everything was true, all I got to do is repent sincerely from my heart. There's enough power in the blood to cover all kinds of sin. I don't care what it is, the blood would fix it. But I ain't got to repent about this. All I got to...
The internet exploded after that, with people saying that response made him look guilty. Because an innocent man doesn't talk about repenting if something were true. An innocent man denies everything outright. And Jaguar Wright then made even more explosive claims about T.D. Jakes, saying that if Bishop Jakes was ever at a Diddy party, there were only two possible reasons: money or sex. Because according to her, that's all that happens at those parties and nothing else. And she also claimed that Cassie handed over a massive amount of evidence to federal authorities, including videotapes and audio recordings from Diddy's parties, which allegedly show powerful politicians, artists, and entertainers doing things they never wanted the public to see.
If Jakes was at a Diddy party, there could only be two reasons: money or sex. That's all that happens at Diddy parties: money and sex.
Cassie has turned over substantial amounts of evidence to the feds. I'm told that after Cassie had a long conversation with Blank, I have to protect this person. They're going through a lot right now. And her lawyers, she finally was convinced to give up the videotapes and audio recordings that contain footage.
Here's the really disturbing part. Jaguar Wright said that multiple male escorts have come forward confirming that T.D. Jakes allegedly slept with several men at these parties. And there are also claims that a young man who was allegedly assaulted while underage has now hired a lawyer and is preparing to sue T.D. Jakes because, according to church insiders, his parents were paid hush money back in 2015 to stay silent. But now that he's grown, he wants justice and isn't dealing with his parents anymore since they accepted the money and stayed quiet. And Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, also spoke about this, questioning why a religious man would be present at parties where drinking, fornication, and same-sex activity were happening openly, saying it's hard to explain unless TD Jakes was directly involved in what went on at those gatherings.
Diddy and TD Jakes.
Man, what I think about it is this, when I grew up in the church, the sinners was not supposed to have the same atmosphere with the saints. You had to be able to separate the two. So I'm looking at him as a saint going to a party that ain't nothing but sin. Drinking, maybe fornication, man on man, woman on woman, he on she. But maybe he there to lay some hands on somebody. Maybe he there to save some souls. I know he got a contract with Revolt, so I'm just like, it's just real strange that he would be found at any kind of Diddy party or any kind of place with Diddy unless it's in a business atmosphere.
So why do you think he was going to these parties?
I think that he's going to the Diddy parties, bruh. If he's going, well, we know he's going to the Diddy parties, and I know that I know what usually happens at the Diddy party, or what we told us happened at the Diddy parties. Maybe he need to see it for himself, man. Maybe he need to go there and really be involved in some things that could help save some individuals while they go into those parties.
Gene also said he's heard that tapes will be released soon, and when they drop, the truth will be undeniable. No more speculation, no more theories, just cold, hard evidence. And now let's connect this to something even bigger, the Epstein connection, because when Elon Musk sat down with Joe Rogan, they didn't just discuss Diddy, they talked about why so many billionaires are backing KLA Harris. And according to Elon, it's not about policy, it's about panic, because if Trump wins, the Epstein client list could be unsealed, exposing some of the richest and most powerful people in the world and revealing their secrets for everyone to see. And when Joe Rogan asked Elon if LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman seemed uncomfortable, Elon's one-word answer.
Diddy thing was like an Epstein type compromise deal where he had, whether he was doing it himself, conceivably, people want to think that he's attached to some intelligence agency or something like that. I think he's a gangster who made $1 billion and knew how to control people by compromising them. That's what I think. Whether or not he had help, I don't know. Whether or not he shared some of that information with people so they knew they had compromising stuff on people, I don't know.
Whether or not Diddy shared some of that information with people to let them know they had compromising material on others, I don't know. But Joe Rogan compared Diddy's operation to Epstein's, since both allegedly filmed powerful people in compromising situations and used that footage to control them through blackmail. And the terrifying question is who was supplying Diddy with young people and how many powerful names appear on those tapes, with even Melinda Gates giving us a clue, because one of the main reasons she left Bill Gates was his connection to Jeffrey Epstein. And this was after Epstein was already a convicted pedophile, with Melinda saying she felt evil personified just being in the same room with him. So if the connection between Bill Gates and Epstein was serious enough for Melinda to walk away from one of the richest men in the world, imagine what she must have known and seen. And years ago, Dave Chappelle tried to warn us, saying the entertainment industry is a monster. The same monster the Me Too movement aimed to expose. And when people asked why he didn't just take Chappelle's show to another network, he made a statement that hit hard, asking, why does a slave run from one plantation to another? Because the master there might be nicer, but you're still a slave, admitting he felt trapped. And if someone as powerful and successful as Dave Chappelle felt trapped, what does that say about everyone else? Because this story is far from over. More names will fall, more tapes will leak, and more truth will come out. So here's the question. Do you think TD Jakes is the real monster at the top of this pyramid? Or is there an even bigger name we haven't uncovered yet? And if you thought this was wild, the next video dives even deeper into the names about to fall, covering everyone from Meek Mill to Ashton Kutcher to Naomi Campbell, with the list growing and evidence piling up. And this is just the beginning, as we continue covering every twist and turn.